Nice. So today we are moving on with the same topic of need assessment, and we left it yesterday on topic 2.4.2, that is SWOT analysis. I hope you have come across this term, SWOT analysis. This is very simple. This SWOT stands for S is for strengths, W is for weaknesses, O is for opportunities, and T is for threats. So you can see that the first two items, S and W, strengths and weaknesses, are something which is internal to the organization. And opportunities and threats are what you want to exploit or you want to mitigate. So these are, classically speaking, opportunities and threats are the risks to the organization, which opportunity is a positive risk and threat is a negative risk. But from the perspective of need assessment, we do understand that we are trying to assess the needs, looking at the problem and the opportunities. So the problem probably is the negative thing, that is the threat, and O is the opportunity, which is a positive risk. So we are looking at various risks at organizational level which help us do the need assessment. Therefore, it is very easily understood that SWOT analysis is a one very important analysis at strategic level. In the absence of formal plans, the business analyst may use SWOT analysis to help assess organizational strategy, goals, and objectives. So, when we are talking at the level of strategy, when we are talking about the goals and objectives, organizations could always do some catharsis all the time. They can review their strategy, review their goals and objectives, and align them according to whatever is the result of your SWOT analysis. So naturally, you would be doing, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, identification of all these items, and then uh, trying to find where does an opportunity exist or a problem exist which can be improved to get the organization from its current state to a future state. So SWOT analysis is a common method used to facilitate discussions with stakeholders when articulating high level and important aspects of an organization, especially as it pertains to a specific situation. So we can make the stakeholders sit with us while we are doing the SWOT analysis, or we can share the results of SWOT analysis with stakeholders and discuss with them to better understand their needs and expectations and to update them on the current status of what we are internally and externally. Internally, what are our strengths and weaknesses right now, and what are the opportunities and threats faced at that point in time. SWOT uses four categories mentioned previously and provides an additional context for analyzing the business need. So basically, we are focusing at the business need. So that business need is being looked at from the perspective of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It helps to translate organizational strategy into the business needs. You see, we already know that it is all about strategy, goals, and objectives. And to translate that into your current situation, what is your business need? This translation will be done through SWOT analysis. This SWOT analysis investigates the situation internally and externally, as I said before. Internal is strengths and weaknesses, and external is the opportunities and threats. So, as we just said, there are four categories to it. Internally, it shows where the organization has current strengths to help solve a problem or take advantage of an opportunity. Naturally, every organization has certain strengths. Some organizations are good at marketing, some are good at manufacturing. So, whatever is your strength, you must capitalize on that. But first of all, you must know what is your strength. The biggest dilemma in this scenario is that usually organizations do not really know and understand what their strength is, and therefore they cannot fully take advantage of that strength. Examples of strength include a knowledgeable research staff, strong brand reputation, or a large market share. So if you do have any one of these advantages, then why don't you further exploit these advantages? These are the opportunities, kind of. They can give birth to further opportunities. Then it reveals or acknowledges your weaknesses at organizational level that need to be alleviated to address a situation. Weaknesses may include low recognition in the market, low capitalization or tax base, or bad publicity due to real or imagined failures. So you must also know, it is as important to know your weaknesses as it was to know your strengths. Because if you do not know your weaknesses, you will keep committing the same mistake time and again, which is constantly hemorrhaging you, which is constantly damaging you. So if we understand where is the hemorrhage point, we must plug it. We must fix it. So until and unless you know where it is, you can't fix it. Externally, naturally we have opportunities and threats. So first of all, generates potential opportunities in the external environment to mitigate a problem or seize an opportunity. You see, opportunity which are prevalent in the circumstances, those opportunities must be taken advantage of. Examples of opportunities include underserved markets, termination of a competitor's product line, discovery of a customer need that the organization can satisfy with a new product. So, as soon as you see a gap in the market, an opportunity for your organization, you must take steps to exploit that opportunity, to take advantage of that opportunity. Similarly, as far as the threats are concerned, it shows threats in the market or external environment that could impede success in solving business needs. Naturally, where there are opportunities, there will be threats and there would be problems. So, we must be at a lookout for those threats or negative risks also. Threats may include increased market share by the competition, new products offered by the competitor, any mergers and acquisitions that increase the competitor's size and clout, and new regulation with potential penalties for non-compliance. So all these different threats, once they are known to you, once you have identified them, you can think of ways to either avoid them or to mitigate them. So SWOT is a widely used tool to help understand high-level views surrounding a business need. The business analyst may use SWOT to create a structured framework for breaking down a situation into its root causes or contributors. So this is the first step. As soon as you know what are your strengths and your weaknesses and your opportunities and your threats, that is the point when you can start thinking about what is the reason of this threat. What is the source of this threat? What is the cause of this threat? Or how this opportunity can be exploited? So before understanding the solution, you must understand where this opportunity is rising, as if I can enhance the chances of that opportunity. And same goes to your strengths and weaknesses. You must build on your strengths and you must eradicate your weaknesses. So the all of these four things are necessary to come up to a business need. In the example we were talking about yesterday, insurance claims are too slow. So what could be, just a small little SWOT analysis here. First of all, I must tell you that SWOT analysis should not be done in a descriptive form. It should be done in a diagrammatically. You just take a large sheet of paper, maybe 2 to 3 feet long, and divide that sheet into four parts. And the top left corner should be named as strengths, top right corner should be named as weaknesses, bottom left corner should be the opportunities, and bottom right corner could be the threats. Now write down whatever you identify in strengths or weaknesses or opportunities or threats. This may not be a descriptive statement. This could be a brief statement just indicating a strength or weakness or opportunity or a threat. And why are we putting it in one big sheet of paper is because when you are focused on finding the strength and you recognize a strength, then that strength may internally point to some other of your weakness. So as soon as you are reminded of that weakness, you can immediately write it down into the weakness column. And maybe once you are doing that, you also recognize an external threat. So taking a cue from there, you can write that thread down, and maybe that also gives you a hint about some opportunity. So these all things are somehow uh, related, or they give birth to one another. Therefore we must be able to write down whatever the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are as soon as they are recognized. And this is a creative way of doing it. We are not uh, only focusing on one aspect at one time. If you are writing down the opportunities and a strength comes to your mind, why not write the strength also? And later we can always refine this thing. So here, as far as the strengths are concerned, uh, some of the examples here, sample here is, for example, the strengths could be the positive customer experience despite slow cycle time. Although we are not having a fast cycle time, but customer is loyal to us. Customer experience is good. So this could be our strength. Rate of claims fraud is among lowest in the industry. This could be our strength. Technically savvy IT staff. That could be our strength. If we look at the weaknesses, we have staff shortage. One weakness. Policies regarding claims are fairly inflexible. Another weakness. Difficulty focusing on company to new claims investigation methods. So you know where you are weak and where you are strong. If these are all the strengths and all the weaknesses, let's suppose they are, then probably I have to focus and on these items only. Similarly, in opportunities, mobile device technology is widespread and accepted. So why not get into the mobile device technology and capitalize on that and take advantage of that opportunity. Mobile device proliferation may mitigate staff shortages. So another opportunity. Needed software is relatively easy to program and are purchased. So you see, these are various opportunities which are external to us, but we can capture them and we can take advantage of them. Similarly, there could be certain threats in that situation, like the competitors already using mobile capabilities to report claims. So people are already doing it. So this is a threat that somebody else has taken the lead in it already. So whatever you want to do must be different, must be new. Another threat could be competitor advertising that emphasizes fast claims processing may cause policy decline. So these are some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats which you could come up with, and then you can further analyze. You see, the detailed analysis could be comparing the strengths against weakness, comparing the opportunities against threats, comparing the strengths against threats, are comparing the weaknesses against opportunities, our strengths against opportunities, our weaknesses against threats. So, a thorough analysis will exactly prioritize which is the most important thing and which is dependent on what, and ultimately, you will be in a position to do a proper need assessment. So, this is as far as the SWOT is concerned. Any questions you want to ask about SWOT, please?
No, sir, I'm fine. I'm understanding all this. No question.
The next topic is relevant criteria. That is 2.4.3. The goals and objectives provide a criteria that may be used when making decisions regarding which program or project are best pursued. So before, goals and objectives are already there, and goals and objectives are drawing the line where we want to go, and therefore whatever we want to do must be governed by certain constraints. So Our criteria has to be established in light of goals and objectives already defined for the organization, and we have to abide by those. So that criteria has to be created here. When goals and objectives involve revenue generation, then programs or projects to expand markets or add new products are key. So all those projects and programs which could contribute towards the revenue generation would be on a higher priority because that is one of our goals or objectives. When one of the major objectives, okay, I'm sorry about the breakage in voice. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
Previously, I was not able to. I
Yeah,
lost your voice.
yeah, there was a disconnection. Anyway, so
Yes.
I was talking about, okay, so okay, I was saying when goals and objectives involve revenue generation, then project and programs to expand markets or add new product is a key. And one of the major objectives is to decrease the cost, then programs and projects for process improvement or cost elimination are important. So naturally, whatever is my goal or objective, that takes precedence. And naturally, all those projects and programs which serve that goal or objective better would be on higher priority to start. For example, one objective of the insurance company, the example we are taking so far, is to increase revenue 10% by 31st of December. So those projects or program feasibilities or business cases which prove that they will be able to contribute to this objective, then probably they would be on a higher priority to start. In this case, revenue is a highly relevant criteria. So this is the relevant criteria. Revenue in this case specifically is a relevant criteria. The organization needs to sell new insurance policies and possibly expand its market. Therefore, programs or projects that improve sales will be significant. Initiatives that support expense reduction are very important too because the company also needs to reduce expenses. So that may be the other criteria, but the primary criteria are the most relevant, the highly relevant criteria was revenues, and then the second criteria could have been the reduction in expenses. So criteria that were identified when reviewing the organization goals and objectives will be useful later when comparing and rank ordering potential solution options. So I will prioritize various solutions. What can be done if this? I have three options to go ahead with this project. Which option best suits my relevant criteria? Say there are two criteria. One is the bigger criteria, the highly relevant criteria is revenue generation, and a lower level criteria is reducing expenses. So probably those projects, those solutions which are serving the revenue criteria would be given better priority. Then perform root cause analysis on the situation. So what is root cause analysis? We did talk a bit about it yesterday, that root cause is to find the root cause of the problem. Whatever is the problem, go into the root of that, find where the problem started, what is the reason for that, and then we can start thinking further. Once a situation is discovered, documented and agreed upon, situation what? Situation, as we said, it could be an opportunity or it could be a problem. So as soon as we are faced with our situation, it has been discovered, it has been documented, and we all know and understand, we agreed that yes, this is the problem or opportunity. It needs to be analyzed before being acted upon. After agreeing on the problem to be solved, the business analyst needs to break it down into its root causes or opportunity contributors so as to adequately recommend a viable and appropriate solution. So, before we can even think of various solutions which could be adopted, we must understand the root cause. Root cause are, in case of positive uh, risks like opportunities, we say opportunity contributors. What contributes the most to this opportunity, I should facilitate that. And root cause of a problem, I should identify that and fix that. For purposes of brevity, this practice guide will treat root cause analysis and opportunity analysis as one topic. So we will not be, doing them separately. Root cause analysis means that we are talking about opportunity as well as the problem. Therefore, we will not treat them separately. The same tools will be used. To clarify these terms, uh, each is defined as follows. First of all, root cause analysis. This is an analytical technique used to determine the basic underlying reason that causes a variance, defect, or risk. So, whatever is responsible for this problem, or this risk, or this defect, or this variance, whatever is the difference, when applied to business problems, root cause analysis is used to discover the underlying cause of the problem so that solutions can be devised to reduce or eliminate them. On the other hand, opportunity analysis is exactly the same thing, but in the positive sense, a study of major facets of potential opportunity to determine the viability of successfully launching a new product or service to enable its achievement. Opportunity analysis may require additional work to study the potential markets. So, there are a number of techniques used to perform root cause analysis as well as opportunity analysis, and most work for both. This practice guide presents following methods. First of all, there are many methods. See, five whys. Okay, Busha, are you there? Busha, can you listen to me?
Hello, sir. I'm losing your voice
Okay, now
continuously.
is it fine now?
Yes, sir. It's fine.
Okay, right. Let me get back to what I was talking about. I was talking about there are two. How much have you listened? Have you listened to the definition of root cause and opportunity analysis?
No, sir. I did not listen it.
Okay, so let me start from.
I was. Yeah.
I was saying there are two kinds of things which can be done. Naturally, you know that we have problems and we have opportunities. For problems, we want to dig down and find the root cause of that problem as if we can fix it. And for opportunities, we need to dig down and find what are the contributors to that opportunity as I can improve the chances of that opportunity. So these are two separate kind of analysis, but for the brevity, for the sake of understanding the whole thing, we would rather go with one type of analysis, the root cause analysis. Although this is negative, but it can be used in the positive sense as well. The same tool. So root cause analysis, if you have to define it, an analytical technique used to determine the basic underlying reason that causes a variance, defect, or risk. When applied to business problems, root cause analysis is used to discover the underlying cause of the problem so that solutions can be devised to reduce or eliminate them. So this is the root cause. This is for the negative. And opportunity analysis is for the positive side, a study of the major facets of potential opportunity to determine viability of successfully launching a new product or service to enable its achievement. So opportunity analysis may require additional work to study the potential market. So this is generally what it is. But what are the various tools? What are the various tools of this root cause or opportunity analysis? As I said, we will talk about uh, whatever tools we are talking about, they will apply to both situations, the root cause analysis as well as the opportunity analysis. The first one is 5 whys. I am sure you must have heard about it. So, can you tell me what it could be?
Five whys is when, where,
Okay,
why, and I something like this. This is
but
why, what, and
they are not whys.
when.
They are W's. They are not whys.
Okay.
So,
No, no, no. 5 whys. I no.
5 whys is different. 5 why is different.
Maybe I've heard, but no.
Okay, whenever you are faced with a dilemma, whenever you face a problem, somebody poses that problem to you, you are supposed to ask why. A person says, I cannot reach the office today. You ask why. That person would respond, right? So once that person responds, just because my car has broken down, that's why I can't come to office in time. You again say, why has your car broken down, right? And the answer would be maybe because I forgot to do the maintenance of the car last week. That's why my car broke down. Ask why you did not do the maintenance of your car last week. So this way, Mushta, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me? जी मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Sir, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now I can hear you.
Tell me, I have two different internet connections and I have changed them twice, but it seems it is not problem at my end. Is your internet okay?
Yes, sir. I'm okay.
But I think
My
the
internet is okay. When I lost the connection, then it actually I lost the muted icon as well. When I lost my connection,
but
because I can hear my voice. When you lost it, but I hear my voice.
you hear your voice because you are speaking in your own mic. But the thing is, are you sure that your internet is working all right? Because can you browse and do things, other things?
Yes, sir. Because when I lost my connection, then my screen gets blank,
Okay.
get refresher or disabled. It get disabled. It does not show either green or orange.
Okay, I don't know what is the problem, but anyways, so I was talking about the 5 whys, and I said, whenever there is a problem, ask the person giving you the problem, telling you the problem, 5 whys, right? So, as I was saying earlier, if the person says that I will not be able to reach the office in time, you say why can't you? And that person says because my car broke down. You say why did your car broke down? He says because I did not do the maintenance last week. Ask him why did you not do the maintenance last week? So this way it is generally understood that after you have asked why for 5 times, the root cause will be identified. Do you get the point?
Yes, sir. We should until we until we get the root cause, should not ask. We should not ask 5 times because we have to get to the root cause until we get the root cause.
Yes, but there is no harm in asking 5 times. There is no harm in asking 5 times. That would be clarified if you actually if you don't ask 5 times. What will happen is you will think that you have reached the root cause, but 5 times ensures that you get to the root of it. So minimum 5 times you must ask. Got it? Right?
Okay.
Okay. So this is it. The objective of 5 whys is to ask for the cause of problem up to 5 times or 5 levels deep to truly understand it. A business analyst does not always need to literally ask why up to 5 times. Instead, the 5 whys are used to begin with a problem, ask why it occurs until the root cause becomes clearer. Quite often, business people bring solutions to the project team, but it is essential to first clarify the business problem with a technique. You see, I have been saying this time and again. Don't jump to conclusions. Anybody who brings the problem, he brings the solution also with it. Don't focus on the solution right now. This is the time that you must first understand the problem and then the root cause of the problem, and then you may be able to start thinking about the various options for solution. And then you select the selected option. Therefore, do not try ever to jump to conclusion. Try to impose a solution because the first solution coming to your mind might not be the best solution. So, this 5 whys will guide you in that direction. Other techniques may be needed to refine the root cause, but this is 5 whys is a very basic and primary kind of a starting tool. It is important to ask why using appropriate questions and to limit the actual use of word why. It is not necessary that you should always use the word why in your statement because it can cause the interviewee to become defensive. Why this person is asking me so many questions? So the examples could be in the insurance company example, a 5 ways dialogue might proceed as shown in the table. I think the table is not pasted here. Anyways, let's move on to the next thing, cause and effect diagram. Now, cause and effect diagram is the same diagram which I did talk about earlier as introducing it to you as a fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. There are 3 names to it. Cause effect diagram, fishbone diagram and Ishikawa diagram. So cause and effect diagram decomposes a problem or opportunity to help trace an undesirable effect back to its root cause. So this is better than 5 whys. 5 whys was an approximate uh, way of finding the cause. But here, this is more methodological. These diagrams help to break down the business problem or opportunity into components to aid understanding and generally provide the main aspects of the problem to analyze. Maybe you see your problem is that the work at factory has come to a standstill. So, what could be the possible categories of problems? Maybe it could be due to the workforce. It could be can Can you listen to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, because it shows here the connection is lost. Okay, so I was saying these diagrams will help you break down your problem. They are typically high-level views of why a problem is occurring. So you may have general categorization of problems. General categorization. I'm not talking about a specific problem. Maybe the problem might be due to the workforce, might be due to the machine, might be due to the system, might be due to policy or whatever. So you categorize these things into different ways, and then you try to find which category is the culprit category. And out of that culprit category, once you have identified it, then you dig deep into that category. You say, okay, this must be a technical problem. So what are different types of technical problems which could be there? So there is further subcategory that it is a mechanical problem. Okay, what type of mechanical problem? You can keep digging down, and ultimately you will find that machine which is causing the problem and that part which is causing the problem, and ultimately you would know this is the culprit, and then you will be able to fix that. Cause and effect diagrams are designed to understand the cause of the problem so as not be distracted by its symptoms. Now, this usually happens a lot. When you go to a doctor and tell him, I have a headache, then probably if the doctor does not try to find the actual problem and he just starts treating your headache, then probably your problem is not going to go away. Maybe your headache is healed for a while, but the root cause has not been healed. So these diagrams take a system view by treating the environment surrounding the problem as the system and by avoiding analysis of the problems imposed by people or staff. There are several types of cause and effect diagrams that could be used to uncover root cause. Most of these techniques can be used along with the 5 whys. Initially you can always start with a 5 why, but ultimately you have to break it down to cause and effect diagram. From a practical standpoint, it may be sufficient to go to a 3-level deep in order to understand the needed elements of root cause. 2 of the most useful cause-effect diagrams are described. Okay, this is an example of the previous one, the 5 whys. Can you see this? These are the 5 whys.
Yes, sir. This table.
Okay, now look at the question. Sponsor says we would like to add the ability for policyholders to submit claims from their mobile phones. We figure it would speed up claims processing considerably. Now the business analyst wants to ask why. Naturally, he can't ask why to his boss. How he is asking the question. He says, I am new to the team. Can you help me understand why this is a problem? You see how he has posed the question in such a way that the person giving the problem may not get offended. So he doesn't want to offend the other person. So he's saying, I do not understand where the problem is. This is the basic thing. So please define the problem in more detail to me. Then sponsor says, well, the problem is that claims take too long to process. With a mobile application, we can encourage customers to file claims as soon as an accident or storm happens. Plus, there are other features of smartphones we can exploit, like using their camera and video technology. So now business analyst says, he asks his second why. What do you think is the major delay in processing claims? So what he is trying to do is, he is trying to focus the discussion towards the root cause. So what do you think is the major delay in processing claims? So the problem he has understood, the problem is the delay in processing claims. And now he is trying to identify what is the major delay, what is the most probable reason of delay. The sponsor says, partly it is a lag between the time of an incident and when the policyholder files a claim. which can add several days to a week to the process time. The delay also results from our corporate policy that we need to investigate every claim we think will exceed certain limit. It tends to be 80% of all claims. So 80% of claims are getting delayed. Now business analysts want to ask a third why. Can you tell me the reason behind the need to investigate so many claims personally? You see, we are homing into the problem. We are getting into the problem. We are getting to the root of it. So he is saying, why do we need to investigate all the claims? Is it really necessary? Sponsor says, we are pretty conservative company and to avoid fraud, we like to personally view the damage. Right? So business analyst comes up with this fourth why. What other alternatives for speeding up claims have you tried in the past and why didn't they work? So this was again an incisive question. Did you use any other alternatives in the past? And if at all you did, then did they work or not? And if they did not, then what was the reason? Now the sponsor replies, well, we tried skipping the investigation for all, but the highest claim amounts and our losses jumped way up. So what we know now is that if you do not investigate all the claims, you will have larger losses. Okay, fine. We also tried encouraging customers to call us on a dedicated line from their mobile phones. But for some reason, they didn't seem to have our number handy or who knows completely why. But we didn't get enough calls to warrant continuing. So I hope you are understanding there is an answer in the problem. The statement sponsor is giving, there is actually indicating the reason. So it has said two things here. Number one, if we do not investigate, losses will jump high. Then, no matter what we do, customers do not somehow do not file their complaints in time. Maybe they don't have our mobile number. Maybe they don't have, other problems. But this problem continues. So the last why, the fifth why, business analyst is asking, what did you attribute the higher losses to? So the highest losses we said that the losses jumped up due to non-investigation. So what was the reason for those higher losses? So the sponsor replies, we found out that many of the damages were not as bad as the claims indicated. I think we overpaid by around 20% if I remember correctly. So you see, we have, by asking these questions or during this interview, a lot many things have been clarified. If you would have started working based on the very first statement of the sponsor, the things would not have been as clear as they are after these five whys. Do you understand what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
for an analyst, this is very important to be incisive, to dig into the problem. Your job is to analyze. So therefore, you need to do that. Okay, next. Fishbone diagram, as I said, cause-effect diagram, normally called as Ishikawa diagram. These diagrams are snapshots of the current situation. What are we actually facing right now? And high-level causes of why a problem is occurring. So generally, whatever kind of problems occur in an organization, we have generally categorized them into a number of problem areas. The main big causes of different problems. Maybe there could be technical problems, there could be human resource problems, there could be this kind of problem, that kind of problem. So broadly we categorize them. These diagrams are often a good starting point for analyzing root cause, because once we have homed it that it is a human resource problem, then we will dig down into the human resource and see where the problem is. Fishbone diagrams lend guidance to the causes that will provide the most fruitful follow-up. For example, they often uncover areas in which data is lacking and would be beneficial to collect. However, this technique is not sufficient for understanding all root causes. Fishbone diagrams traditionally use the word effect, cause-effect diagram, because they are cause and effect diagrams. However, it could easily be a situation or problem instead. Cause, problem, cause, situation, whatever you want to call it. There are various ways of depicting a fishbone. Here are some guidelines for using fishbone. I'll show how the fishbone looks like, but first let us understand the rules of making a fishbone diagram. The problem to be solved is placed at the head of a fish, which can be either facing to the right or left. So fishbone, it's like a skeleton of a fish, where head is the problem. Your fish may be facing right or left, but the bone structure would be behind it. So the problem is the head of the fish. Use between 3 to 8 causes or categories, which are the main bones coming out of the skeleton. One is the main one is the root bone, which is attached to the head, and then there can be many other small bones coming out of it, maybe generally 8 to 10. So these use between 3 to 8 causes or categories as an optimum number of causes associated with the problem. Standard categories, when used, can help guide the process and include, these are some standard categories. Machines could be the problem, method or system could be the problem, material could be the problem, measurement could be the problem, people or customers could be the problem, policies could be the problem, processes and procedures could be the problem, places and locations could be the. So you can make your own categories, but if you want to take help from traditional categories, these are some of the traditional categories we have. For each cause identified, ask why that cause is occurring and label any sub-causes discovered. Generally, 2 to 3 levels will be sufficient to gain insight into the problem to understand its root causes. So once you say, well, it is due to the policies, then which policies, right? So what different policies are there? There is a human resource policy, there is a risk policy, there is a quality policy. So which policy is causing the problem? You say, okay, this is the human resource policy. So 2 of the 3 levels will be sufficient to gain insight. Look for patterns of causes, which are useful items to measure, model, and otherwise study in more detail. They are more likely to lead to the root cause of the situation. Circle those significant factors as shown in figure 2.4. You can look at it, read it carefully and see what is happening. The problem was insurance claims are too slow, right? And what are the major categories have been identified for that? It could be a process problem, it could be a people problem, it could be a measurement problem, it could be a system problem. So when those problems were further broken down, say under the process, we had rigid processes. And what are the rigid processes? One was require in-person inspection. Number 2 was cumbersome paperwork. So it was found that it was more towards requires in-person inspection. In people, we had we had inadequate staff, insufficient staff. Why? Why was that? Because of the tight budget, because of the turnover high turnover, which is, people do not remain with the company, they keep, leaving the company. So why the turnover was high? Because low claims agent salaries. The salaries of the claim agents are very low. So if I can identify these areas which have to be addressed, then probably I can go into the cause of that and fix that. Similarly, in systems, we had limited manner to accept claims or limited manner to record claims. In measurement, we had measure only complete cycle time. So this is the general fishbone diagram for the example we were talking about. Okay, Are you okay till now? Yes, please.
Yes, sir, I'm okay. I just want to ask, these are the four things when we draw the fish bone, then we will divide this in the four categories, right? People, process, measurement, system.
You can have as many categories as you like. These are
Okay,
just guiding, like in the previous slide, uh, it has mentioned general categories as, if you can look here, machines, methods, systems, materials, measurement. So you could have taken any one of them, or you
okay,
could have created your own categories depending upon what project you are doing. So it is not necessary that
okay,
there will be only four categories. There could be more, there could be less, but generally speaking, there should not be so many. You should not have 100 subcategories. 8 to 10, 3 to 5, things like that, which can be easily counted, and they should be major categories. So you have to devise your own categories.
okay,
Okay, the next is interrelationship diagram. This special type of cause and effect diagram is helpful for visualizing complex problems that have seemingly unwieldy relationship among multiple variables. There are more than one variable which is impacting the same situation. So by adjusting those variables, I could fix the problem. So because there are more than one thing affecting it, so I have to recognize those multiple variables. These diagrams are most useful for identifying the variables. So first of all, identify all those items which are affecting a specific situation. But similar to fishbone, this technique is not sufficient for understanding all root causes. Fishbone is very effective in root cause, but interrelationship diagram is only trying to identify what all is affecting this process. So all of those items will then be known, and their interrelationship would be understood, and we can be slightly comfortable with root cause as such. In some cases, a cause of one problem may be the effect of another. Now, this is interesting. The cause of this problem could be an effect of another. So, there can be a chain reaction between the problems, right? If I fix this problem, another problem rises. The interrelationship diagram can help stakeholders understand the relationship between causes and effects. So, there are many causes and many effects of various problems, and they are interconnected. So that interrelationship has to be understood and can identify which causes are the primary one producing the problem. So we have to ultimately find the, the root cause in the interrelationship diagram. What is dependent on everything? Constructing an interrelationship diagram helps participants isolate each dimension of a problem individually without it being a strict linear process. Focusing on individual dimension allows participants to concentrate on or analyze manageable pieces of a situation. When the analysis is complete, the diagram sheds considerable light on the problem, but only after the entire diagram has been assembled. So until and unless the diagram is complete, you cannot comment on it. Just some guidelines how to make it, and then we will see how does it look like. First of all, identify the potential causes and effects up to a maximum of 10 to be practical. So for this problem, what all could be the different causes? So you list down this could be causing it, this could be causing it, this could be causing it. So what are the causes and what are the effects? So up to 10 causes must be identified. Draw lines between the effects and their causes. Connect them. Each cause is connected to its effect. Effect is your problem or your opportunity. The arrows represent the direction of the cause. So where is the cause? We are making an arrowhead. The arrow starts from the cause and points to the effect. Arrow starts from the cause and it points to the effect. When two factors influence each other, understand which of the two is stronger and note which one. Interrelationship diagrams are most effective when arrows are limited to one direction. We cannot have two-way arrows that A is affecting B and B is affecting A. That would be a loop and that would be confusing. So if that is a situation that A is affecting B and B is also affecting A, then try to determine which has a larger effect. Which has a larger effect. So make the direction according to that. No two-way arrow. Factors with the largest numbers of incoming arrows are those that are key outcomes of other factors. You will see that there are certain effects where a lot many causes are concentrating. Lot many arrows are concentrating on a single point. So these are where the outcomes are coming out. These often provide good measures of success or can be good items to quantify and monitor. This is where you must look at. I'll be showing you in the next diagram the scheduling delays and all this diagram. Factors that have a large number of outgoing arrows, the place from where many arrows are originating is the source of the problem. So we need to fix this area. And the significant cause and effect diagram can be depicted in bold. So when you find what are the major causes and major effects, you make them bold. Okay, just look at this. A very simple diagram. It says these are various factors. These are various factors. Some of the factors are impacting others. So for example, if I look at budget cuts, 1-3, 1,3. So 1,3 budget cuts is impacting limited ways to accept records. It is also impacting the low salaries. It is also impacting the shortage of staff. But low salaries is also impacting the shortage of staff. And limited ways to accept records and claims is making the things more cumbersome, as well as it is causing scheduling delays. And the shortage of staff is also causing scheduling delays. In-person inspection is causing budget cuts and it is also causing scheduling delays. Right? So you see the whole net has been established and we see there is no relationship between limited ways to accept record and low salaries. There is no relationship. There is no relationship between shortage of staff with cumbersome paperwork. There are two different things. So once we have this, let us see where the maximum number of arrows are originating. Budget cuts has 3 arrows going out of it. Limited ways to accept record has 2 arrows going out of it. And I think that is what it is. So the biggest cause is budget cuts, right? Similarly, where the outcome is coming, that is the scheduling delays. 4 arrows are getting into scheduling delays. So scheduling delays are caused by 4 different reasons. And what is the root cause? You see, everything turns out to be budget cuts are due to in-person inspection, and in-person inspection is the culprit, which is not only harming the main reason, budget cuts, but also is causing scheduling delays. So ultimately, in-person inspection is the biggest culprit. Do you understand how this diagram is made?
Yes, sir, but it is complicated as compared to fishbone, right?
Yes. Yes, of course, but you see, what you can understand from here is there is a number written on each one of these boxes. For example, 1,2. 1,2 means 1 is 1 arrow is getting in, and two arrows are getting out. You understand? In-person inspection is 0 to no
Yes,
arrow is
sir.
getting in, two arrows are getting out. So the highest number of arrows is
Hmm.
easily understood to be scheduling delays. Four arrows are getting in. No,
What does the number shows? In and out.
yes,
In and out. Number shows in and out.
exactly. Four arrows are getting in the scheduling delay and no arrow is getting out. That means this is the outcome. This is the problem. This is the problem. Scheduling delays is the problem. And what what is causing the problem? Budget cuts, which is due to in-person inspection. If you try to make it for your own problem, you will see that it will start making sense. It looks difficult, but this is not really very difficult.
Okay.
Right.
So we are saying if the number of in is high, that means the problem is there.
This is the outcome. This is the outcome. This is the ultimate effect. Ultimate effect. Ultimate problem is scheduling delays. And what is
Okay.
the ultimate cause?
Ultimate problem.
What is the ultimate cause? Ultimate cause is where the out number is the highest.
The root cause.
1 dash 3. So 3 is highest here in budget cuts. So budget cuts is the source of all problems. Got it? Right. So let us move on. Then are the process flows. Process flows, you must be aware, this is a very common thing which we keep doing all the time. How work is happening in an organization. In organization, there are several processes for doing several things, and every process is composed of a number of activities. So how these activities are to be in what order and how they can be done, this is the process flow, and we create process flow diagrams for that. Process flows are used for many things, primarily to document and analyze current and future. You see, when we do the business process re-engineering, we create a process flow diagram for how the organization currently works. That is, as is process flow diagram. Then we create a future state process flow diagram, how we want organization to work, and then the difference between as is and to be could be the gap analysis, and that would tell us how we can improve the processes from its current state to its future state. So process flow is something like that. Another use of these models is to analyze the process for the ways in which a current process contributes to a given problem. So process flows can also be used to identify the problem and the cause of that problem. So you have the process flow in front of you. You say the problem is coming at this spot. So what is causing that? So you can travel backwards in the process flow and see from where the project problem is originating. So in this way, a problem flow can be used as a root cause analysis tool. Non-optimal process existing in the current as-is environment may have gaps or missing steps, duplication, or unnecessary or non-value added steps. So such like things have to be removed or corrected. Process flows are not useful when analyzing opportunities. So process flow, because opportunities are not in your process flow, they are new. So as far as the problems are concerned, yes, we can use process flows to find the problems, but opportunities cannot be discovered out of process flows. Process flow modeling can be used in conjunction with root cause analysis, as it focuses on how aspects of current processes may contribute to the problem at hand. In the insurance company example, the scheduling limitations for the in-person inspections are a major contributor to the current situation. So we will use that way method and this method together. Some guidelines for using the process flows. Select the situation and place it at the top of the process map. Put the situation on the top of the process map to emphasize the problem to be solved. Here it will remain highlighted. Identify the steps in the process that result in the problem. So, just identify all those steps which are in that process. Try and keep the number of steps at a high level, often around 10 or fewer steps. For each step, ask how that step may be contributing to the identified problem. Each step, you must ask this question: is this step causing any addition to the problem? Whatever the problem we have identified, is this step contributing towards that problem? For each cause, probe to find any sub-causes and add them in a similar fashion to a fishbone diagram. So you are doing the fishbone as well as simultaneously you are looking at the process. So looking at the process flow, you are creating a fishbone diagram. So both of these methods can be used together. Look for the steps that have several issues as the best places to find changes or improvement. Where there is a concentration of problems, that is where we have to solve it or perform further investigation to verify or measure. Circle the factors that are felt to be significant causes and sub-causes of the problem being assessed, and then repeat this factor again. Look at this. This is a flow chart. What we have done is we have written the name of the problem on top. Problem, slow claims processing. Okay. So examine claim process we are trying to devise. We are trying to earmark. Here what we see is the process is the work starts, telephone claims agent, his process is on top and claim adjuster's process is at bottom. So once the telephone claim agent does the examination appointment, only then the claim adjuster confirm the appointment and move on with his own duties. So first of all, make the flow. Don't worry about the Ishikawa or cause-effect diagram right now. So what is the process? Process is when we start the work, the telephone claim agent receives the call. Then he determines the claim eligibility. Once the claim eligibility has been done, he records the accident details. Then he finds open times for claim adjuster. Then he schedules the match. If there is no schedule matching, then he continues searching and again keep trying to find the match. Once the match has been found, it schedules the appointment for examination. And as a result, the examination appointment is created. If the search does not result in anything, then save the claim for future. And as far as the telephone claim agent is concerned, his job is done, his process is done. But all those claims which have been scheduled, so examination appointment would then be sent to the claim adjuster, and from here on, his process starts. What does he do? He confirms the appointment, and at the time of appointment, time and place, he examines the damages. Once he has done that, he takes the photos of the damages, then he completes the claim report and file claim report. Now this is the process. Forget about the fishbone created underneath. Simply, first of all, design the process. Now try to find what are the causes of each. Receive call. What is the delay? Call wait time and people give up. So why is the call wait time? Because we have got limited agents. Now why we have got limited agents? Because we have budget cuts. So you see the 5Y or Ishikawa, whatever you are using, this is almost the same thing we are creating here. So then look at the determined claim eligibility. There is no problem with determined claim eligibility. Does not uh, count towards the slow claim processing, which was our problem. Are you with me? Causes of each. Receive call. What is the delay? Okay. Are you with me? जी बुशरा आवाज आ रही है?
जी सर, अब आ रही है। बीच में गायब हो गई थी आपका, लेकिन कर्सर मुझे नजर आ रहा था और आपने म्यूट भी किया था, वो भी नजर आ रहा था।
Okay. Actually, today is a very bad day because we are breaking up again. But anyways, we will try. You see, what I was explaining is, we have created the flow diagram first, and I said, do not worry about the causes as yet. First, define the flow. What does this person do? What does the other person do? From where, where he leaves and where the next person starts. So once I have the flow, then look at the problem. The problem was slow claims processing. Start from the beginning. Is receive call contributing towards slow claim processing? Oh yes, it is. Then what is the problem? What is the cause of that? How does it contribute towards slow claim processing? That is the call wait time. People give up. Okay, if that, why do people have to wait? Because they are limited agents. Okay, fine. If they are limited agents, why are they limited agents? Because of the budget cuts. So this stream is contributing. Then determine claim eligibility. Does it contribute to slow claims processing? I don't think so. It is a simple thing. Eligibility, either is it is eligible or it is not eligible. But record accident details, internal interface only. So that could be a problem. Then find open times for claim adjuster. There is no problem. Schedule, no problem. But as far as when we are continuing the search, then available times are hard to find. This could be a problem. Why? Because of limited registers, and that is also due to budget cuts. You see, here we find the receive call problem is due to budget cuts. Why the claim agents are not getting onto it? Due to budget cuts. And if we look at the claim adjuster, again, examine damages maybe weeks after an accident. Why? Shortage of staff. Why? Not enough trained adjusters. Why? Due to budget cuts. So you see, there could be many reasons, but the biggest reason we found here, which we found repeatedly, is budget cuts. So budget cut is a root cause. Maybe the second biggest problem could be the internal interface only, which is found at two places, whereas complete claim report, no mobile capability is the smaller cause. The biggest cause is the budget cuts. So is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you capable of creating this kind of flowchart yourself?
Hear you.
Can you create it? Give us some.
Yes, sir. What is uh, uh, what problem
Exactly. Put the problem on top.
and then
Yeah.
what is then we examine you know.
Okay, let us do a little exercise. Let us say that the problem is that your car broke
So
when you
I
are going
can't
to
hear you.
office, right? Your car broke down
Can you
when
hear
you are
me?
going to office. That is the problem,
Hmm?
right?
Yes, sir.
Can you create a flow diagram
Mm-hmm.
and then find the causes on it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that. You are driving the car and car breaks down. This is the problem. So create a diagram and tell me what will be the processes, what will be your process, what will be other process, maybe the mechanic, his process, and your office process. How will you
Okay, then the car.
and how will he react to it?
First, first we try to when the car broke down, then we first call the mechanic if he's available,
Okay,
and when he says that yes, then we arrange someone to take the car to the mechanic. Then we inform him to check the car, means what examine damages basically what has happened,
okay.
and yeah.
So you see, not only that, but as soon as your car breaks down and you were getting late, you will also involve another player into it, and that is your boss. You will call your boss and tell him that you will be delayed. And
Yes,
actually,
yes.
the problem is that you are being delayed, right? So we will
Hmm.
first create three tiers of that. One is yourself, one is the mechanic, and one is your boss. So each has their own
Hmm.
process. And as soon as you inform your boss, a link goes to your boss, and then he will start acting on it. Maybe he gives you a leave, maybe he gives you some time off or whatever. And mechanic, when as soon as you call him, he starts taking his action. And then
But
you can evaluate it further by creating 5 whys or Ichikawa onto each one of these processes wherever it applies.
what are you saying? There are two processes. What
I
two
mean,
processes? One call to the one is to calling the boss, and other is calling the mechanic. There are two processes.
you see in this diagram, you have got two people involved in
Hello.
it. One is telephone claim
Mhm.
agent, he has his own process.
Yes.
Then is a claim adjuster, he has his own process.
Hmm.
Now I am asking you that your car broke down, what will you do? You will have to inform your boss that you will be late. You will have to inform the mechanic that my car broke down. Right? So there are how many players? Yourself, your boss, and the car mechanic.
Any
All
delays?
three of them have to take certain actions. So the
Oh,
process starts
yes. I
when
will
the car.
inform my boss. I will, yeah, inform my boss, and I will check for the mechanic.
Mhm,
Then, of course, I'll be late from office, from work. So I will take the car to the mechanic.
exactly.
Then, of course, I will be delayed,
Mhm.
for the work.
Inform.
And maybe there's a possibility that, mechanic will delay in preparing the damages. I will, you know,
Let's
there's
introduce
a possibility.
agent into it. You will call Cream,
Hmm.
and Cream Wala has his own actions. You understand my point?
Yeah.
So this is how you will create a flow chart for everyone, which is connected, and then you will find the root cause, and ultimately the main problem will be highlighted.
Okay. Okay.
So you
Got
have to
you.
do some exercise on it by yourself or in your office. Only then you will be able to learn these things better. Otherwise, this is just one slide. You will forget about it.
Hmm.
So this is how process flows can be used in practical life. As a business analyst, this is really very important for you. Next is determine required capabilities needed to address the solution. Now we have done the analysis. Now to see, are we capable of handling this situation? Do we have enough capability and capacity to take on this challenge? So this is determination. Once the root causes of or contributors to a situation are known, the method to correct them or to take advantage of opportunities can be specified. For simple process improvement situations, it may only be necessary to recommend process changes without adding new capabilities or other resources. Maybe there is a faulty process, you fix that process and problem is resolved, that is all. But sometimes you will say that this person is doing the job incorrectly or he is not capable of doing it. So new capability has to be introduced. You may have to be trained for that. Or maybe you have to introduce a new machine into the system to do that job. For more complicated solutions and for opportunities, new capabilities may be needed, such as new software, machinery, skilled staff, or physical plant properties. Business analysts will recommend suitable capabilities based on discoveries made during the root cause analysis, or based on the concepts and contributors to success that are identified when analyzing an opportunity. So there could be various methods. They exist for determining new capabilities. When formal root cause analysis is not performed, business people may jump to solutions. This is exactly what I was telling you. Do not ever jump to solutions. Jump to conclusions. Go one step at a time. Do your homework and only then very carefully suggest appropriate solutions. The result is often adding new capabilities that address only part of a solution. If you jump to conclusions, you will be making a faulty solution, partial solution, which will not solve your problem, but may incur cost. It will be expensive and it will not be solving the whole situation. By examining each problem and the associated root causes, a need capability can be discovered. One tool to help facilitate this analysis is a capability table. This is a capability table in front of you, where the business analyst lists down each limiting factor or problem. Right? So in the first column, you have the problem or current limitation. Specify the associated root cause. So whatever could be the root causes for each one of those problems, all of the root causes will be listed down under it. And then list the capabilities or features required to address that problem. So to fix that root cause, what all capability is to be added. Capabilities may also be represented in a visual model, like a feature model, which we'll talk later in section 4, not here. Let's look at the capability. We had two problems. For example, insurance claims are too slow and reports are being delayed. When we found the root causes, we found that insurance claims are too slow because, number 1, limited claims agents are there. Number 2, necessity for in-person inspections is there. Number 3, limited claims adjusters are there. So let's talk about 1, limited claim agent. That means what capability you need to add? You need to add additional trained agents. Means that you have to fulfill this requirement, then this problem will be resolved. At least limited claim agents will be resolved. Or you can have higher pay for claims agents, because we are not sufficiently paying them. Maybe that is the cause of their not working properly. Okay, necessity for in-person inspection. So what to do? You have to create a new policy for skipping examinations based on ensured policy length, claim history, and initial intake interview. So whatever, changes to the policy have to be brought in that could solve the problem. Or use of ensured technology to record damages. Automated system. As far as the claim adjusters are concerned, again, we need to have more. So these problems could be there. Report. Next problem is the report delay. Two causes: limited ways to accept record claims and reports, and paper reports. How can you resolve it? Limited ways to accept record claims. Use new methods of accepting claim, maybe by email, maybe by other means. Submit report remotely rather than physically. As far as the paper reports are concerned, eliminate paper reports. So you see, we have the problem, we have the root causes, and we have identified what capability we need to achieve. Now, the solution when we are trying to create would be according to these capabilities, which capability you want to increase. So if it is to eliminate the paper report, then we will take measures. The solution will include how to eliminate paper reports. So good so far?
Yes, sir, I understand the table. What are the root cause and what are the new capabilities basically,
Wonderful, wonderful.
right? To improve the root cause or to dilute or eliminate the root cause. This
Exactly.
is what we discussed on the table
Yes.
in example.
So the next tool is affinity diagram. This is another method for determining the capabilities is to use an affinity diagram. This shows categories and subcategories of ideas that cluster or have an affinity to each other. Affinity is some relationship, some dependency. For problem solving, an affinity diagram is used to help organize and structure major cause categories and organize them by capabilities needed to solve them. Affinity diagrams are used for multiple purposes. They are handy for drawing out common themes when faced with several disparate, and potentially unorganized findings. So when there is a lot of disorganized things, probably you can use this method. These diagrams can be used to help connect related issues of a problem or opportunity. They can also provide insight into collection of factors to help understand root causes and possible solutions to problems. Later point makes them useful for generating the necessary capabilities to address a problem or opportunity. Let us see how does it look like. This is your affinity diagram example. You can look at it. We have got staff issues. We have got corporate policy issues. We have got interface issues. Let us address each one of them. As far as the staff issues are concerned, we have two problems. Hire, two capabilities. Hire additional staff or raise pay for the claim agent. Hire additional staff. We have limited claims agents, limited claim registers, and delays in responding to claim filing. All of this will be resolved by hiring additional staff. Raise pay for claims agents. This will solve the problem of turnover of the claims agents. Set minimum threshold for in-person inspection. This will solve all claims require in-person inspection. So this minimum threshold will be solving this. Trouble in scheduling inspection appointments, that will be solved. As far as interface issues are concerned, new methods of accepting claims. These will solve the limited ways of accepting these claims. Eliminated paper reports will solve the paper report cause delays. So the previous diagram we created, actually we have refined it into this form. And the gray are the solutions. This is what we want to do. And they will address these areas. So this is how we can create an affinity diagram. We have put the related items together, showing the solution to each problem. But this is not exactly the solution. This is just the capability. Hire additional staff is the capability. How to hire, and that would be a solution. So we will talk about the solution later. But as far as the capabilities are concerned, they are clearly visible in the affinity diagram. Benchmarking, we have already talked about it, but let's talk more. Another way to determine new capabilities is to conduct benchmarking studies of external organizations. How are they solving their problems? That solve similar problems are seized opportunities that the organization is considering. Benchmarking studies often guide final recommendations to address the situation as well as highlight which recommendations not to make. So benchmarking is very useful for us because it is guiding us in two ways. One, how others have been successful, so I get some recommendation. And also, it recommends to me what not to do. Stakeholders are almost certain to be interested in what the competition is doing, so it is always helpful to have answers about the competition when those questions arise. Benchmarking is also common in non-competitive situations. For example, when one government agency or jurisdiction shares the solution approach with other groups. A competitive analysis study typically falls into one of three categories. Causal review, causal review of other organizational public documents such as corporate reports or web pages. So what I can do is, maybe there is a financial report issued by Telenor. So I will go through that and see, try to find the causes of problems in it. Study of the major variable factoring into a solution or secret shopping or competitor stores or websites. Have you heard about secret shopping? You send a worker as a customer to your competitor's shop and see how they act, what they are doing well, what they are doing bad. So he will just note down everything and you will learn from that. Then is reverse engineering, a specific product to determine its component details and the capabilities needed. Maybe your neighboring shop makes too good tea. You want to make as good tea, so you order tea from them, drink it, analyze it, and try to match it. So you reverse engineer their formula and try to compete with them. Benchmarking, like competitive analysis, provides insight into how other organizations are responding to the same challenges experienced by the performing organization. Benchmarking of capabilities provides insights that the organization would not have thought of on its own or would have used valuable time to discover them by trial and error. If we did all that by ourselves and we did not learn by the mistake of others, then we will waste a lot of time and money. For example, the insurance company could discover through benchmarking that a competitor offers video chat sessions between customers and the claims adjusters. This discovered capability should be scrutinized to determine the amount of value it would add to the potential solution under consideration. Then is assess current capabilities of the organization. You have already done the assessment of what capabilities you need to have. Now, what are the capabilities you already have? Once it is known which capabilities are needed to correct a situation, it is necessary to determine the organization's current capability. What we can do right now. We have determined what we need to do, what capabilities we need to have, but what capabilities do we have right now? The organization may have necessary capabilities to resolve a situation without needing to add new ones. For example, an organization may already have the source or capabilities needed to solve a problem through process improvement or staff reorganization. Simple case would be that there is more staff in a department which is not needed there, and that can be directed to this department and they can solve the problem. In those cases, the solutions tend to be simple, although not always easy to accomplish. However, when a formal need assessment is performed, as described in this section, it is likely that the needed capabilities do not exist. Before recommending new capabilities, the business analyst should identify and assess current capabilities as they relate to the situation. So what could be the common methods? Here again, We can use the workflows, process flows, as is process analysis are reviewing existing models reveal those current processes in place that could be refined or extended to fulfill the new capability. They also uncover resources that could potentially be redeployed to provide new capabilities. I hope you are understanding this point. This is a very important point. Jay.
Yes, sir, we are discussing what are the capabilities, what are the processes for measuring the capabilities of the organization.
Current capabilities. What are the current capabilities of the organization?
Yeah, current capabilities.
If you can study those current capabilities, probably you will find that there are capabilities available somewhere in the organization which could be redirected or redeployed to fix your problem. Absence of existing processes needed to solve a problem could reveal a larger disparity to failure. If you do not have existing processes to solve the problem, then you probably have to redefine the processes. Next is enterprise and business architecture. These are the methods to describe an organization by mapping its essential characteristics such as people, location, processes, applications, data, technology. When a formal architectural framework is in place, it can be reviewed to provide a current capability inventory. So, how your organization is deployed, what all are the various capabilities in your organization and what are they doing? As with any documentation, the architecture may not reflect reality or the current capability because this could be the design. How many people should be there in the organization, but actually there are lesser people working. So, but still, architecture will give you a clear view how the organization should have been working. Therefore, when using existing documentation, effort needs to be made to validate that the models are up to date and still valid. There is a capability frameworks. A capability framework is a collection of an organization's capability organized into a manageable piece similar to business architecture. When this framework exists, it can be reviewed to provide a current capability baseline. So we would know what all are the at one single place, all the capabilities of the organization are properly tagged. For example, an insurance company has current state process flow for the claims process such as shown in figure 2.6. The company may also have some of the enterprise architecture in place, which may be useful even when the models are at a high level. Process flows may need to be updated to reflect current processes, and the architecture components need to be revised to provide greater detail, but both serve as a starting point. Next topic is identify gaps in organizational capabilities. After identifying needed capabilities and assessing current capabilities related to given situation, any gaps or missing capabilities that exist between the current and needed state are the capabilities that need to be added. I have told you earlier, as is analysis and to be analysis. That is a very important part. As is how my organization or my processes are working right now, and to be is how they should be working. The difference between as is and to be is the gap analysis. I'll do the gap analysis, what capability I need to increase and improve, and based on that gap analysis, I will identify those changes and then future state would be devised accordingly. Gap analysis is a technique of comparing the current state and the future state to identify the differences or gaps. So look at the example below. Here we have the same two problems which we have already understood. The root cause is there. We have already seen that. New capabilities are there. Now let us see what project deliverables to fill the gaps. So additional trained staff, trained agents. How do we do that? New training programs for agents should be started. Increased hourly rate for the claim agent, that is to cater for the higher pay for claim agent. That was the capability. And how do you increase that capability? The solution is increased RD rate for claims agents. That will benefit. Necessary for in-person inspection, we said new policies are to be devised. So create new corporate policy with threshold for visits. And we said use of insured technology to record damage. Develop new processes and interface to import insured pictures of damage. Limited claims adjuster was the root cause, and we said additional trained adjusters are to be there and new processes and interfaces to reduce the claim. New training programs for adjusters. Develop new processes to interface, import insured pictures of damage. Similarly, report delayed. When we said new methods of accepting claims, then develop new interfaces for online acceptance of claims. Submit reports remotely. Develop new interfaces to submit remote claims reports. Eliminate paper reports. So we need to create online and mobile reports. Now, recommended action to address business needs. Once the gaps between the current and the needed capability are identified, a recommendation can be made to fill the gap. We have done the gap analysis. Now, how to fill the gap, that is what we are suggesting. We, as business analysts, will make the recommendation. The needed features and functions are only part of the recommendation, though the business analyst also provides a high-level approach to add the new capability. High-level approach. He is not going to, give you a detailed plan how everything will be done. So he will make his recommendation and he could indicate the general direction. So, to add the new capability alternative approach to consider the feasibility of each alternative and a preferred order to the alternative, just a guideline, right? Do not go into the details here. These are just the recommendations business analyst is making. Business case will be developed later. It is not the job of the business need analysis or assessment. This work provides significant value to the organization and it helps to ensure that the organization does not implement the wrong solution. So number one, include a high-level approach for adding capabilities. Only, as I said before, high-level approach. Do not go into the details. So a complete recommendation includes a high-level proposal stating how the needed capabilities will be acquired. Maybe you say that people have to be trained. People will be trained. How they will be trained, that is another solution. So you are not going to give any figures for that. This approach is not a detailed project management plan and does not include the level of detail in a project charter. So project is not yet there. Why to create a project management plan? Why to create a project charter? Nothing is final yet. Instead, it is a suggested path for adding the capabilities. The business analyst should solicit preliminary feedback from business and technical architects when the recommendation is going to include new or modified hardware or software. For complex situations, when developing the approach, the business analyst should work with the architect to develop a high-level view of how the new capabilities will be interfaced with the existing system. So, just high-level approach you have to establish. Then is provide alternative options for satisfying the business need. There is rarely only one potential solution to the business problem. While there are often multiple approaches for adding a new capability, a recommendation should include all of the most viable options and your suggestion, which is the best option. Generally, again, no calculations here. The standard build versus buy alternative are common options, build or buy or whatever, and so are combinations of the two. In addition to alternative vendors to choose from, the business analyst evaluates and analyzes all the information gathered during the need assessment to produce multiple possible solutions. Primary reason for providing alternatives is to show that the alternatives were considered and to forestall objectives from those who favor them. Another reason for including alternatives is because the preferred approach may not be acceptable. That's why we are suggesting more than one option. Because whatever we are recommending, that may not be chosen, that may not be approved. So if that is not approved, the person approving it may have a look at other options and may select the one other option which we had not recommended as such, but your approver likes it. While the business analyst does not decide which solution may be the best one, the business analyst is usually expected to make a recommendation and to support the recommendation with facts and evidence. Solution decision is made primarily by the business sponsor or the problem owner with additional input about solution feasibility from the solution team or those responsible for developing the solution. Business analyst is not an expert in the technical work, so he can make recommendations. The actions will be taken by all concerned. Identify constraints, assumptions, and risks for each option. Again, I would say these things to identify again would be at a higher level for each option. Respective option, you must do that. Understanding the list of constraints, risks, and assumptions is useful when analyzing project proposals for addressing the business need, and when conducting the project planning, should the proposal be accepted. What is the collaboration point between the business analyst and the project manager here? Business analyst may draw on a project manager's expertise in risk planning and mitigation. So business analyst may ask project manager for help in creating this thing. Both roles are anyways concerned with the risk management, so project managers are focused on assessing the risk of the project as a whole, while the business analysts focus on assessing the product risk. Business and technical architects can support this work too, as they may help uncover additional constraints or opportunities. This is how the constraints, assumptions, and risks are defined here. I hope you understand what are the constraints. Constraints are any limitations on a team's options. Whatever the options you have, if there is a restriction or a constraint on that to execute a project or a program, and maybe business or technical related, it is important to assess any known constraints. What are the constraints or limitations imposed onto you or for your potential solution? Assumptions are factors that are considered to be true, real, and certain. Now, this is very interesting. Although assumptions are assumptions, we are not sure what figure to take. For example, I am trying to calculate something, how to construct a house, and I don't know how a specific job in construction of a house is done, and nobody is there to tell me. So what I can do is I can make an assumption, and based on that assumption, I would treat it as if it was true, as if it is the real fact, and we are sure about it. So we will calculate based on that assumption. But remember, an assumption is an assumption. It will remain a risk until and unless this is proven otherwise. Risks are uncertain events or conditions that may have positive or negative effect on one or more project objectives if they occur. What are the project objectives? Scope, time, and cost are the project objectives. So if anything happening in the project could positively or negatively impact the scope, time, and cost, these things are the risks. But risk is a risk until and unless it happens. As soon as a risk happens, it ceases to be a risk, it becomes an issue. So until and unless a risk has happened, you must take certain measures during that time. That is the risk response. Potential risks for various alternatives can have a significant effect on the perception of business leaders when selecting potential projects. Major risks for each alternative should be noted. I am time and again saying that at this stage you need not do these things in detail. Just high level, broadly, what you think are the constraints in this option, what are the major assumptions you are taking, what are the high level broad risks. Don't go into much of detail. This much is enough for you. Then assess the feasibility and organizational impact of each option. Before deciding which option is preferred, the business analyst assesses the feasibility of each potential option. In doing so, one or more options may be discarded due to their lack of feasibility. Assessment involves comparing potential solution options for how viable each appear to be on key variables or feasibility factors. This comparison, along with the elimination of any options that are not deemed sufficiently feasible, is called a feasibility analysis. So what we are heading towards? We are heading towards a feasibility analysis. Another reason for analyzing the feasibility of alternatives is to reserve the often painstaking work of cost-benefit analysis for only the most feasible option. Do not calculate everything. You have 10 solutions, you discard those solutions which are otherwise not feasible. Why to waste time calculating each and every bit of that option? If an option is not reasonable, throw it out. Only the selected option you must go into detail for calculation to find out how much money will be spent on this. The type of feasibility analysis described here is not a full business case. In that, the latter includes a complete economic analysis. We are not supposed to be doing that economic analysis. We are just saying, just broadly assess the feasibility. We are just doing the need assessment. We are not creating a feasibility study. Feasibilities could be operational or technology. Operational feasibility represent how well the proposed solution fits the business need. This is the operational thing. It also encompasses the receptivity of the organization. What sample questions could be asked? How well does the option in question meet the business needs? How does the solution fit to the organization? So that kind of question. How well do potential options meet the non-functional requirements? And if you're talking about a technical feasibility, that is more technical by nature, and technical skills are required and they have to exist. Or if they are not does not exist, then affordably obtain those resources to put on this job. So does the technology for a potential solution exist in the organization? If not, is it feasible to acquire it? Does the organization have the technical expertise to install and operate the potential solution? And so on and so forth. Cost effectiveness, that is about money. What are the upfront or ongoing costs for the proposed solution? Are the potential solutions affordable in view of expected benefits? Can the funding be obtained for the investment needed? Etc. Time feasibility. Can a given solution option be delivered to meet the organization's time frame? How reasonable is a proposed option's timetable? When a potential solution cannot be completely delivered by a certain deadline, is it acceptable to deliver in stages or still meet the business need? Then you assess all these factors. Business analyst assesses the feasibility factors of each prospective solution option to determine how well these options contribute to the goals and objectives. Last but not the least, they recommend the most viable option. After examining potential options for addressing a business need, business analyst needs to recommend the most viable solution. Let me see. Okay, I think there are many things left. Let me start tomorrow, our next class, from 2.5.5. So this is what I had to say for today. Any comments from you, sir?
No, sir, I understand it because we work on this feasibility and we measure the risk and assess the risk. So
Wonderful.
I can relate these things while while working on
Wonderful.
projects.
Are very important. I know many of the tools you might not have ever used before, but these tools is a good indicator that you will use it, you will apply it in your environment, and it will benefit.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So let's
We have a next class on
on Sunday
Sunday and Monday. Yeah.
and Monday. Right, fine. Meet you on Sunday then. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Allah Hafiz.